Hey guys, back again. It's Justice. April Fools. I know I did the all-nighter video last night because I was bored and wanted to do something. But today's kind of important. Like looking back, like holy shit, it's April Fool's Day. So many jokes, so many jokes. Some people pulled some goofy jokes, you know, and some of them weren't even funny. Like I don't know, Bianca, ask her that story. She'll tell you. Anyways, I was so dirty. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I did, so too late. Anyways, today, 9 years ago, when I was going into second grade, we moved from, well, we were living in a trailer for like 10, 11 months, something like that. I'm pretty sure my dad's gonna correct me later. But, we lost our house out in Orchid, and so we started living in this trailer. There was six of us in there. It was freaking crazy. I was a kid. Dad says we thought we were camping, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say that I knew we were homeless or something. It's just that like I didn't know anything else. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it that way. But we were living in this trailer for like 6 months, and then we finally got a house over on Bryan Street near Tunnel School. I'm probably gonna get yelled at for giving locations, but anyways, we it was April Fool's and we were waiting for the landlord to come so we can sign the paperwork to get the house. And I remember it was April Fool's because these two kids from all the way in the end of the street were walking home from school, from Tunnel School, and there was Johnny and Dale, and I wish I could remember their last name so I can go on Facebook and be like, oh my god, these kids. Anyways, anyways, so they lived all the way down the end of the street, and it turned we developed a friendship with them, my brothers and I, and they were kind of cool. We got into some trouble and we did some stupid stuff with them, but they were really cool, like part of my formative years. And well, back then I thought they were really cool. Now looking back, like, oh my god, those guys were such dorks. But um, yeah. And then this other kid, I can't think of his name right now. It'll come to me later. Scott. Scott. I can't remember his last name either. But yeah, anyways, so they were all walking down the street with these fake referrals for their parents that were saying that they were cussing in class, and they started fighting. They were chewing gum, like everything possible on the referral. They did. That was like the referral, and it was funny because it was believable. But they had these referrals and they were gonna bring them home to their parents for April Fools. Like, oh yeah, your kids got expelled today, by the way. Just kidding. Ah, and it was gonna be funny. Um, and that's why I remember it was April Fools. Like the next week or two or something, I don't remember. My older brother Connor met these kids from halfway down the street between our house and Johnny and Dale's. There was this other house with the Burnhams. Um, and they came to be really great friends of mine, of ours in general. Hell, even through high school, they were great friends. They ended up moving away before third grade was over. That kind of sucked, but we came reconnected later through the years, which was really cool. But yeah, the Burnhams. There's Dean and Megan and David, Monique, Kayla. Like their mom Debbie was really cool. I remember we'd wake up early just so we could go over to their house and watch cartoons before school started. Because our parents wouldn't let us. They'd be like, "Oh, get to school." Anyways, we would go and watch cartoons with them, and then walk to school. All like eight of us together just walk to school. Um, but those were on. Back then, Tunnel was uh, not year round. There were track, so it was like A track and B track and D track and C. Like I skipped C, but anyways, Connor was on C track for his third grade class. He was on C track, and then Hunter no for his fourth grade class, fifth grade class. He was in C track. I'm trying to do math. No, he was He was in fourth because we were in second. Connor is 2 years ahead of me in school, but ahead of us because Hunter's my twin. But they're on C. We were in D, and David was the youngest brother, and he was in C with us, and he was in the same class with Miss Smith, and she was a really cool teacher. Like I, looking back, it's like, oh my God, Miss Smith is awesome. And so yeah, she has to be one of my favorite teachers. Her and Miss Cahill, those two. Um, I don't remember much from my first elementary school. That was Alice Shaw Elementary in Orchid. Um, I Miss Raymond, and then I had this other teacher that my parents didn't like, so they switched me to Miss Ferrari. And yeah, that's her real last name. Miss Ferrari, and me and Hunter had her at the same time. And he was always like, "Oh, you stole my teacher," which is complete shenanigans. But yeah, we had them, and I don't really remember much except that I had three big buddies in Miss Ferrari's class because I came in halfway through, so I had to be switched around a whole bunch. But yeah, that was really cool. Anyways, the Burnhams were really cool. We became really good friends, and I guarantee you that Dean Burnham, the oldest brother, the oldest, is gonna be in one of these videos at some point. I guarantee you. Um, but David was in our class, and for when C and D weren't together, I would hang out with David all the time. It was just like, oh yeah, my big brother's not here, so I'm not gonna annoy him. Or I was actually better friends with Dean than David, Dean Burnham, and so I'd hang out with Dean during school, but then in C track when he was out, because him and Connor are in the same class too, which is really funny. Um, but when they were out of class and they were at home goofing off, probably playing with toys, those lucky bastards. Anyways, they were playing at home, so David and I would play and goof off. And then one day he was just like, "Hey, you might like this kid," and he just pulled me over all the way to the farthest corner of the school boundaries. And we had our tunnel was kind of open campus in a way. It's not like students can go on. Well, students can go on and off campus like nothing, but they weren't allowed to. And they had the yard duties watching all the time to make sure kids didn't venture too far. But it's the sidewalk was like the end boundary, and then it'd go over and turn into the city baseball field, and then go all the way back behind the basketball courts for the school, and then into someone's backyard. And that was the boundary. There was no fence or anything. It was just like that. And there was this big ass tree, and Dean Bowers, he introduced me to Dean Bowers. I was a kid. He was like, "Oh, you'll like this kid," and I started hanging out with Dean, and I was kind of more hanging out with David, but Dean Bowers, he was really cool. Like, there's this geeky, chubby kid, like, big squirrel cheeks, he had a bowl cut rocking, complete picture of prep kid, like, elementary prep kid, like, that was Dean, 100% all the way through. And then started hanging out with the Birds, Casey and Christian, the only other pair of twins on campus. It was so funny. They were fraternal twins, did not look alike. Everyone thought me and Hunter were identical twins, but we weren't, and they knew it. It was great. Um, and then there was Esteban Flores, he was a really cool kid too, and David Cancino, and Andrew Madrano. Now, pretty much, Dean and I stayed together, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Um, but we stayed together. Casey and Christian are twins, duh. Um, and Esteban stayed. Casey, Christian, and David Cancino, and Esteban, all four of them kind of stayed together. And then Andrew Madrano just split. It was weird. Like after we got into junior high, he just kind of split. But we would all play around that big ass tree. We'd play with Legos and Connects, and I remember Connects. The little toys, not the fucking game, the toys, the little connector things that Lego took over and made the oh my god, I can't even think of the name right now. Bionicles, that's what. Lego made the Bionicles to Kinects, and it was great. Those were fun toys. I love those. We would always make them like around the tree, and we built this big ass city. Um, and then I remember one day, Casey got caught with a whole bunch, like a shit ton of Legos in his backpack, and they made his mom come and pick him up. And then she went into Christian and found another sack of Legos, and because we all brought like all of our Legos that all that we could put in our backpack. If Dean brought all of his Legos, they would be in trunks like the fucking size of. Dean had so many, it wasn't even funny. And that's because the kid down the street gave them to him, like tubs of them, because this kid turned like 18. He's like, nope, I'm not a kid anymore. Get these out. It was really cool. We all enjoyed those fun years. Anyways, after we finished the rest of the second grade just goofing off and playing Legos and everything, and that was really cool. Like, I miss those days being super innocent. I do. And then third grade came around, and that's when I started hanging out with Dean, and like with Dean Bowers like all the time. And now he goes by Dean Rosas because he's an idiot. Yeah, Dean, I said it. Anyways, I started hanging out with him all the time, going to his house after school. Like, his house became my house. Like, that's how often I was there. I remember fourth grade spring break. I wasn't home. I lived at Dean's house. Like, that Friday to that Monday, I was at Dean's house. That entire spring break, I didn't step foot in my house once. I had clothes at Dean's already. His mom knew how to use the washer and dryer, and she cooked. All that I needed to do. We stayed up like super late playing video games and all this stuff, and it was awesome. But yeah, in May. Why did I say in March? I need to correct that. In May, um, I made a Facebook post. That's why I had to correct it. Is because I said March in the post. In May, like somewhere around the 15th is where I met Dean, and that was like 2002, 2003, sometime around there. I don't know exactly. It was 9 years ago because it was in second grade is when I met him, and I'm in 11th grade now. So whatever that timeline is, it was 9 school years ago. That's all that I know for a fact. I should do the math some one of these days and figure it out. But yeah, I met him that long ago, and he's like my best friend now. We go into all kinds of shenanigans. Um, through through junior high, Dean kind of or through the end of elementary, Dean kind of changed. He went from this little preppy, like classic rock kid, because that's all his parents listened to. His dad listened to was like AC/DC and Black Sabbath and stuff, which are really fucking kick-ass bands. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I love them, but that's not all that we listen to now. Like, when I met Dean, he didn't even cuss. Now, that's okay, because he was in second grade. He didn't cuss. But when I was in second grade, I was using, like, freaking stuff. Like, we were using child cuss words. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows what I'm talking about. And Dean was just like, what's that mean? And in third grade, like, that's when I really started cussing, like, outside of the family. I never cussed in front of my parents. Never. I was so afraid. But then Dean heard me cuss, and he was like, that's cool. Can I try? And he did. And now Dean cusses like a sailor. It's horrible. And then I introduced Dean to real music, too. And then Michael Ontiveros introduced him to even more real music, which is great. Yeah, now Michael has, like, completely destroyed my music library. It's filled with all kinds of stuff, which is great. I'm grateful, don't get me wrong. It's just, like, when I was a kid, like, in second, third grade, I would have been like, my ears are bleeding. But now I'm just like, ah. He introduced me to Weekend as Romans. That's who I was talking about. Yes, the acid video. It was really cool. Oh, subscribe up here if you can. That'd be great. Facebook page, awesome. Philly D too. Philly D. Um, I'm gonna do that every time I say Philly D. I'm just gonna point to my palm so everybody knows that that's Philly D. I love this show. I'm sorry. Anyways, yeah, all kinds of crazy shit's going on this month. I'm enjoying it. Evil Dead remake's coming out too. Oh, me and Dean are gonna watch it probably. If not, I'm gonna go take Bianca because she's coming. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. Crazy stories. Like, both of the Deans are gonna be on here for sure. I'm probably gonna end up stealing one of the birds to shove on here. Andrew Majano, I was gonna tell you guys about that. Me and him started playing football in like the end of like fifth grade. Fifth grade is when we started playing football, and since then he's never been the same. Like honestly, he became a jock after that. Like legitimately, he became a jock, and he's really cool. Don't get me wrong, he's not one of those dick bag jocks, but he's a jock now. He does not talk to anybody in the group, and Esteban was the only real. Well, we're all white kids. Even David, even though David's Mexican, the rest of us were all white kids. Well, yeah. Anyways, Esteban's like the only Mexican kid in the group, and then he goes and hangs out with the Mexican kids that are the equivalent of us. So I guess it's okay. He kind of stayed with the group. He ventured, and he's still cool and made his own friends and his own. Anyways, fuck, I miss hanging out with those guys. One of these days, I'm gonna have to steal them all and just be like, I miss you, kind of. Not to sound gay. Anyways, Dean, shut the fuck up. I'll stab you in your throat. Me and Dean have so many inside jokes. That bonerlessness is so crazy. But yeah, we were killing cold blood and smoking on the licorice. It was pretty cool. And yeah, no, Pokemon do die. They do. I'm trying to think of other ones that I should say out loud. Yeah, like his nipples, or my nipples. Don't touch my nipples, Dean, stop. And don't let it hit the mayonnaise ever again. I swear to God, those sword fights need to end. So many stories to tell about Dean. It's not even cool. Anyways, yeah, coming up in May, I'll have known that kid for 9 years. It's crazy. He pissed me off so much. He's made me cry quite a few times. He's been there when I cried. I've been there when he cried. He's gotten me in trouble. I've gotten him in trouble. Like, I remember there was this month period where we were trying to get each other's parents mad at the other, like, so much. It wasn't even funny. But, yeah. There's so much there. Anyways, Dean, you're awesome. I just felt like mentioning that. That Bryan house has so many memories, even though you never really stayed the night there. I pretty much slept at your dad's house, like, every fucking day. And then your mom's, too. Yeah, his parents were divorced. That was, like, my first real experience, like, with divorced parents was then. And it was weird because my parents weren't a couple. They were a group of three. There was another word to use there, but that was... I don't want to think about what my parents did. It was my biological mother, my father, and then my now stepmom. They were all three together, and for the longest time, it was just like, wait, having two moms isn't normal? Fuck. She's been there since I was little. She was just there. She's always there. Yeah, anyways, I love my family and Dean. I don't know why I waved. It's probably because they're gonna all watch this later. Probably. Anyways, to all of my friends who are actually watching this, I love you guys too. It's not just family. If I didn't talk about you in this video, I'll talk about you later. If you get in the stash book, you're gonna be in this. No matter what, if you agree or not, you're gonna be in this if you're in the stash book. It's just life. Thanks for all listening. I've talked too much already. This is going on 20 minutes. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for the view. Subscribe to the channel. Go to Facebook and like Philly D. That'd be fucking awesome. feel like he should plug me. That'd be like the best thing in the world. I plug him so much. Anyways, Stash Book.